Let me tell you about a team I hate, all right? I know the Dallas Cowboy fan is here, so I had to make sure he knew how much I hate this team.
I'm ready.
I've often said that the people who run baseball, they try very hard to ruin it.
I'm from Brooklyn. I don't have a problem saying it to his face. Oh, I'm from Brooklyn. Hey, get us any.
Check out nessp.info for direct links and deals on the site Bet Us for 125% off your first 3 deposits in NFL and college odds for upcoming games, Major League Baseball and NBA futures and boxing wagers. Also, check out Fanatics, sportswear for your favorite teams, and also network merchandise, retro, Northeast Streaming Sports, National Streaming Sports, Big Football, and the Mac and Jack Sports Show t-shirts. Coffee mugs are coming soon. Check it out.
But Joe Flacco, man, he's just as professional as can be. He's fine. He's 17 years in the league. Find new and improved ways to stay relevant. They got to find out what's in his water, whatever he's drinking. It's working because he comes in, gets a 168 yard, very modest game, 16 to 28, and 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 105 rating. Man, I hats off to him, to Joe Flacco, man.
Yeah, listen, he's a veteran quarterback, and even though he can throw interceptions, he normally throws one more touchdown interceptions. He's a gunslinger, but this game, it didn't look like he did that, James. He didn't have to do that. He really didn't have to come from behind. They were basically out in front at that time. So, I mean, all he had to do was kind of take care of the ball, and he did a great job with that, and that's what an experienced quarterback does. We've talked about Joe Flacco off the air a few times and on the air. Listen, this guy has a Super Bowl winner. He's got a lot. He's got over 45,000 yards last time I checked. He's a very good quarterback. I don't know if he's Hall of Fame worthy or not, but if he keeps playing like this, and all of a sudden the Colts are in the mix for a playoff game again, I mean, he's got to get some kind of recognition. Yes,
I would agree with that. And I'm pretty sure he's going to be some Ring of Honor maybe in Baltimore or something like that.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
And I don't know what couch he sleeps on or sits on, but that's a couch that every quarterback should spend a little time on before they come back in the games. Yeah, I agree with that, and I know James does too. We're going to get to all the 1 p.m. games here in a minute, but I'm going to update you real quick on the 4 p.m. games that are still going on. Right now, the Broncos are ahead of the Raiders 34-18 with 3 minutes and 13 seconds left. San Francisco is ahead currently, but the Cardinals are 4th and 4 at the 17 with 1:37 left. You would imagine they'll be going for the field goal. Right now, the Giants are up by 10, 23-13. It looks like Seattle's down at their 40-yard line right now, and they've got a little drive going here. Just set up a screen pass, and it looks like they got a first down. So their drive staying alive. The Packers right now are ahead of the Rams, 24-13. The Rams are first and goal at the Green Bay 6. So 3:44 left in that game. So there's really plenty of time in all these games for the other team to come back, James. So they're not over yet.
No, it's not over at all. But, I mean, time does tick away, and you got to make sure that you're in it to win it. And a couple of these games are pretty close. I mean, I heard you. It looks like the Cardinals went ahead and kicked their field goal, so they're up 24-23, but there's still time remaining for the 49ers to come back and try to do something.
Right. Broncos, I think the game's over. 3:10 left. The Raiders just don't have the firepower to get back in that game. Seattle, listen, Geno Smith to Tyler Lockett or to DK Metcalf can make this close in a hurry. And, of course, Matt Stafford, listen, he can throw the ball. It really doesn't matter what receiver. As long as he can catch it, Stafford can keep you in that game. So some real interesting 1 p.m. games. In fact, we'll start with the morning game, James. Aaron Rodgers with 2 touchdowns, but 3 interceptions. We have Jack Hirsch is supposed to be coming in at 7:30. We'll see if he shows his face or not. I imagine he will. Listen, Rodgers again. He just looks old out there, and maybe it's because he's injured. He can't move around. That's part of it. The Minnesota defense did everything to win that game, and they did end up winning it 23-17. Minnesota goes to 5-0. The Jets dropped to 2-3, James, and they got to play Buffalo next.
So this is what I say in regards to the Jets, man. You had opportunities to win this game, including at the end. The one person that really held the Jets back was Aaron Rodgers. He, like you said, he threw 3 interceptions. 2 of them was just egregious. And the one that he threw that was a pick 6, that's 7 points. That swung the game. If that touchdown doesn't happen, the defense holds Sam Darnold to no touchdowns at all. They shut him down.
Yeah.
Mind you. Go ahead.
Jim. No, you go ahead.
Mind you that they had Justin Jefferson was just commanding attention from everybody to the point where there was yellow laundry. I didn't know if they were wearing green and white or they were wearing yellow because they were throwing so many flags at them because of all the attention that they were giving him. He's just a pretty dominant player, and he deserves every penny that he's getting right now.
No doubt. Seattle just scored a touchdown. It's now 23-19. They're going to kick a field goal. They're not going for 2 points to stay within that 3 points. There's 2 minutes and 9 seconds left. It's up to the Giants offense. Control the ball, move the ball down the field, and that will be the end of the game. I think Seattle has all its timeouts left, and so do the Giants. So we'll see what happens with that. So it's getting interesting quick in Seattle right now. Listen, Jets played well enough to win. The Vikings had 4 sacks. The Jet fan pages that I belong to a bunch of sports groups. Some of them are saying maybe it's time to sit Rodgers and give Tyrod Taylor a shot. I don't think that's why they got Rodgers, is to give Tyrod Taylor a shot. But they're very frustrated right now in New York.
Yeah, I get the sense of being frustrated, but not to the point where you're not logical. Rodgers is the guy that should be there playing. Tyrod Taylor has been a journeyman in this league. He can come in and fill in when a player goes down. He can get you a couple of wins. You know that personally with the Giants. You've seen what he can do. But I think Tyrod Taylor's ceiling is low. It has, a limitations to where he can go or take a team like the Jets. So I would say definitely Rodgers is still the guy. I'm a little confused, not confused. I'm a little frustrated with the chemistry between Rodgers and Alan Lazard. I mean, if you look at that first interception, before it happened, Lazard had a ball on third down, had a ball right, or second down, had a ball right and thrown in his hands, and he just dropped it. There were a couple of downs that Rodgers threw to him, and he dropped them. So you're trusting this guy. You need to find and build your chemistry with Garrett Wilson. That's the guy. That's the guy that should be the number one guy. You should be, and towards the third and fourth quarter, you can see they start, building that chemistry and obviously put them back in the game. Yeah. Put them at the game and put them in a position to try to win the game. It's just that I think part of it is Rodgers, but part of it is his willing to go back to Lazard because that's who he knew. That's who he played with in Green Bay. I think you really need the relationship should be better with Garrett Wilson.
Well, as you said, he's a second-year guy. Rodgers likes his guys, right? We know that, and I just think that the offensive line doesn't give him enough protection. Tyrod Taylor can move a lot better than Rodgers. Maybe sit him to get his knee an extra week of care. Maybe, I don't know. I just think that it's a crazy thing going right now in New York. Arizona has won the game as they beat. I said there was a shot that they would upset the 49ers even at 7.5.
Wow.
Listen, the line was moving towards Arizona. And when that happens, normally it's because not just because the bets are going on them, it's because they know something. And Vegas knew something here. Kittle was banged up. The 49ers are still banged up, and Arizona really got their butts handed to them last week against the Commanders. So I think this was something. The 49ers always have problems with the Cardinals. The Cardinals had to win this game to stay relevant in that division.
Well, they're both tied now. I mean, they're both 2-3. So that's kudos to the Cardinals because that's an excellent win. I mean, if you have an opportunity to play against a team when they're down that's as dominant as the 49ers, you better darn well take advantage of it. It looks like they did, and they squeaked out a win, and that's when they're going to need down the road. You're going to be like, okay, we got a tiebreaker here with this team. So potentially this is a team that may be trying to make a wild card, or maybe win a division. Who knows?
Yeah, and there's so many good teams, not great teams. There's so many good teams in the NFL right now. You're going to have to maybe be 10-6, at least 10-7, 9-8. Maybe you get in, maybe you don't. So these teams that are very good or good to very good, they're going to have to beat some of these teams that are supposed to be the contenders, and we'll find out if the 49ers if they can come back from this win. Let's see. The Rams did get a touchdown. It's 24. No, there's a touchdown, a field goal. It's 24-19 right now. 1st and 10 at Green Bay. Green Bay's got the ball. So there's 3:30 left in that. 2 minutes left in the Giant game. 2:40 in the Raiders game right now with the Broncos. So let's go to Carolina and Chicago. Caleb Williams is improving. He's kind of making me eat crow, which is great. I'm glad to see he's doing something over there. A really talented team around him, but he really had a great game here. He threw for 304 yards, 2 touchdowns. Swift with a big game rushing, and DJ Moore with a big game receiving. Carolina, not really much to talk about.
Yeah, well, as you said, I got a poster in my room, and now I got the full poster standing up now. Okay. So it's life is good again. I just think that they're good at doing good. I think their defense is above average in Chicago, and they shut down the team and showed what Carolina really. They brought them back down to earth. Sorry, Sonia. I know you're out there. You were happy about the 300 yards with 3 TDs. It hadn't been done in a long time, and nobody this season. Well, not today. I mean, the red rifle got brought back down to earth. Now he's the rusty rifle again, and it just wasn't good for them. I feel bad for Carolina because it's just not a good run organization, and you had a game where DJ Moore wanted to come back and show them like, hey, this is what you're missing. I gave you 100 yards, 2 touchdowns, 21 yards a clip. I think the trajectory for Chicago is better. I'm not sure. We'll see where they go. They're in a tough division too. I mean, they're playing up against, three of those teams above them are going to be legit. They battle with Minnesota. Who knows, considering how Minnesota's offense is playing against really legit defenses. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think we're going to find out more about the Bears next week. I think they got Detroit they're playing. If they can I'm not saying even beat them, but if they can play Detroit close, then I got a little bit more hope for them. I'm not even looking for them to win that game. Just give them a game. They lose by 1 score. Hey, they're there. I think we're going to find that out as we go here. 4th down. Seattle forces a 4th down with 1:51 left. The Giants are going to have to punt it away. We'll see. How many
timeouts?
I think they got Seattle's got 3, and of course he's the ball's complaining. He grabbed his shirt, but hey, listen, this is and he did, but this is the end of the game. They're not going to call a little grab like that to change the thing as far as change the outcome of the game. So, are you sure about that? My Saints got a bad. Well, they got a pass interference. They're not supposed to. They're not supposed to. Let's put it that way, right? But anyway, right now, Seattle's returning the punt, and they're stopped at the 34-yard line. So that's where Seattle will start 1st and 10 with 1:40 left. So we'll see. We'll see. Gino can pull out a little magic here if they can get back, at least tie the game. He almost fumbled the ball on the punt. It was really close, but he did grab it and a decent return, a few yards anyway. So we get to Baltimore and Cincinnati, maybe the best game of the day, right? It went overtime. Baltimore gets the field goal. There were a couple turnovers at the end. One by Jackson, and I think an interception by, if I'm not mistaken, by Joe Burrow. But, boy, these guys came out. They slung the ball around from the field. And my producer's going crazy in the background here, so I guess Seattle's doing all right.
I thought it was a hurricane hitting your area.
It's Hurricane Linda. She is she snuck under the Doppler radar, and she's right now in the studio. Anyway, right now, Baltimore does win. Great comeback. Lamar Jackson, 348 yards, 4 TDs. Derrick Henry kept in check until the last play of the game. I guess he took off for, what was it?
51 yards, man.
51 yards. And Burrows did have that one reception. He threw for 392 yards. 5 touchdowns.
5 touchdowns.
Not good enough to win the game. So there you go, Baltimore. 41, Cincinnati 38. I mean, I don't know if you watched the whole game or not, Chase, but man, that was a game and a half.
It was one of the best games I've seen all year. And it was like a clash of the Titans, man. It was two big teams throwing blow for blow. It was just pretty much like a Ali versus Foreman. It's who could stand or rope a dope or take the last blow to the end, man. And looks like, because at the end, I'll be honest with you, I almost turned the game off when Lamar Jackson fumbled the ball. In that bad, when he clapped a few times, he got the ball, it hit him in the hands, and he dropped it and fumbled it. I said, this game's over. And the kicker missed a field goal. That's all you have is, I mean, there's skill and then there's luck. Luck went both ways, and then it just, that 51-yard run just changed the scope of the game, and that was it.
Yeah, it did. And you got Derrick Henry for a reason. You might keep him in check for 3 quarters, but that big body is eventually he's going to get something going here. Incomplete in the end zone. They're not going to call that play if he got tangled up. So right now, 3rd and 4. I think they're in field goal range, though. They went for Lockett. Good coverage on him. And out of bounds. Gino threw it out of bounds. So it really didn't. I mean, I don't know what you're going to call there. There was really nothing going on. So anyway, right now, 3rd and 4, big play for the Giant defense here to see if
with a minute and 4 seconds.
Yes, and see if they can hold them and make them kick a field goal. We'll see what happens here. They've been getting pressure on there in the end. They knocked it away, so Seattle will probably try for a field goal here to tie it up and may force it. It's still with 1:05 left, so that gives the Giants some time to get down and get a field goal also. So, yeah, they are bringing
Oh, my goodness. What is your thing? You're late, man. Something happened. The Giants scored.
The Giants scored?
It's 29-20.
Did they just take a field goal back for a touchdown?
Maybe.
Let's see.
We must be.
The Giants did just score. Let's see this play. I got to see this play. I'm sorry, folks. Let's see. It's blocked, picked up by number 88. You are correct. They returned it for a touchdown. That should be it. The Giants 30-20 with 55 seconds left. I don't know who was it that blocked that field goal that got up that high. No, did the wide receiver block it?
Sorry for ruining the surprise, but that just caught me off guard.
What a play. I'm a little bit behind. The Giants, wow. That is maybe the first special teams touchdown. Who jumps over? It's number 19. Oh, my, yes. 19. I forget who he used to play for the Cardinals. He's now a Giants linebacker, special teams player. Jumps way up in the air, jumped the offensive line. Wheaton, the wide receiver, backup wide receiver, takes it to the house. Giants are now up 29-20 with a field goal. Oh, my, yeah, that's
game over.
that should be over. So I don't know how they would come back for this. Seattle does call a timeout, I think. I don't know if it matters or not now. But hey, there you go. James. You got to win tonight. You picked them. You got to win tonight.
Yeah.
You're 2-0 now. All right. So there you go. Anyway, so back to what we were talking about. We're on Buffalo, Texas. Texas wins the game 23-30. Field goal on the last play of the game. C.J. Stroud played good. I mean, he had 331 yards, but the defense of Buffalo really did a good job against this Texas offense. They did everything. They could have won this. They should have won this game, really. I mean, if Josh Allen had a decent game, and he really didn't. He threw 131 yards and 1 touchdown.
Yeah, but there's some limitations there. Not obviously you won next man up, but they came into the season with the limitations at the receiver position, and they got a good running back in James Cook. Khalil Shakir, is that I forgot his name. He was out for this game with an ankle problem. So you're depending on a rookie and Keon Coleman, who had an excellent 1 reception, 49-yard touchdown. But that's all you got from him. You didn't get anything else from him. And Dalton Kincaid was limited as well. And they knew that. So the defense in Houston is not too shabby at all. They're really good.
No. I still think, they didn't run the ball as much as I think they should have with Cook, because Cook was running the ball really well. I think Buffalo could have won this game if they ran the ball a little bit more. And I mean, look at their defense again. I know they had pressure on C.J. Stroud. And don't get me wrong, C.J. Stroud, putting pressure on C.J. Stroud, getting in his face, sometimes don't make a difference. This guy is out of sight when he's under pressure. So it was a good game.
You're right, but they held him to 1 touchdown and 1 interception, so you had opportunity.
Yes. So anyway, a real good game there. The Jags and the Indianapolis Colts, what a shootout that was. Talk about a good game. Lawrence throws for 371 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Tank Rigby runs for 101 yards. Flacco throws for 359 yards and 3 touchdowns. Pierce had 3 receptions for 134 yards. It was like whoever got the ball last was going to win this game, it looked like to me. So, listen, Colts played well. Jags played well. They got their first win. It's about time, really, right? So, I don't know.
Yeah, but it was a Herculean effort by Joe Flacco because they were down. I mean, my question is, what would have happened had Anthony Richardson played? Would they have even been in this game to even tie or be close to even try to he ended up tying the game 34 all. They won 37. The Jags won 37-34, but they were down a lot, and Flacco brought them back, man. And just a 39-year-old showing a little LeBron-esque in this older age, still showing, hey, man, I still got it, and we can still win. And he's making those guys believe. They obviously believe because they didn't have Anthony Richardson. They didn't have Jonathan Taylor, and they still were there to be able to try to get. I mean, that guy Alec Pierce.
Yeah, but there's no moral victories, right? You lost the game, and the Colts aren't out of it by any stretch of imagination. The Jags finally got a win. The Giants didn't kick a field goal. They chose to run to take a knee. Seattle got the ball back, and the Giants kind of sacked him. I guess they pushed him, and he fell down. I know what happened right now. So it's 2nd and 23. The game is over. The Giants, it looks like, are going to win this. Let's bring up our special guest for today. We got back. He knows a lot about football, and he's a huge, lifelong Jets fan. I guarantee he's a little disappointed in what happened this morning. The Jets had a chance to win this game, interception at the end. Let's bring in Jack Hirsch. How you doing, Jack?
Yeah, I heard you guys talking. I didn't realize the show was on the way. I thought this was just chatting before the show. And I'm kind of impressed that James is impressed with the Colts because they were able to hang in with a team that had lost 9 regular season games in a row, that the Colts were able to hang tough with them before going down to defeat. So that kind of puts Flacco on the perimeter of LeBron James. It was kind of not up to LeBron James' standards, but worth a mention in the same breath as LeBron James. So impressive stuff. You can only hear it on this network.
Yes, yes, you can. Listen, Flacco played well enough to win. The Colts defense did not today. That's for sure.
No. Well, listen, it's Jacksonville was due. They lost a few close games. As far as Flacco goes, he's not going to be the Colts quarterback of the future. If it's not going to be Anthony Richardson, it's going to be someone else.
Right. I agree.
But keep in mind with Flacco, he was the Jets backup and he was the Eagles backup, and there's the Jets backup twice, and they moved on from him. And the Eagles backup, the Flacco and Cleveland's backup.
Right.
4 different stints as a backup, and he was a Super Bowl winning quarterback. And he's going to garner a couple of votes for the Hall of Fame. I don't think he'll get in, but it's not ridiculous to say that he's a Hall of Famer.
I agree, Jack. And I bet the Jets wish they had Flacco today because Aaron Rodgers had a shot to win that at the end of the game and threw a terrible interception. He didn't have to force it in there. That's 1 of 3, and the Jets defense again played well enough to win.
Mac, no one wished Flacco was in for the Jets who was a Jet fan. No one at all. There would be no possibility of him getting into the game if he was a Jets backup, unless Aaron Rodgers was going to be getting injured.
I don't know.
But Aaron Rodgers didn't play well to me. I don't want to hear that he started kind of loosening up late in the game. Those pick sixes are devastating. People don't realize how bad they are. A guy could throw a pick six, and then he could lead his team on 2 scoring drives, and he can look great the next 2 possessions, put up 2 touchdowns. And what does he gain? That means in 3 total possessions, he would have gained 7 points, which, okay, is average. It's devastating. It was a terrible pick six by Rodgers. It wasn't like the receiver fell down or it was a tip ball, anything like that. It's all on him. And, Rodgers is all about timing. He's strictly a timing quarterback. He doesn't really stretch the field per se. If he had a Tyreek Hill type player, those aren't the best type players for him. The blazing speedsters to throw long to. It's all about timing. We saw it the last play of the game, at the interception to Mike Williams. He expects his receivers to be perfectly on the same page as him. They have to adjust to his timing, his cadence, not vice versa. And it's still a work in progress. But what makes it harder, what's happened to the running game? With Breece Hall. Drayton Allen, okay, I can understand after a couple of good games, he's a rookie. But Breece Hall, when are they going to get him going? I thought the only bright spot I saw today on offense, Rodgers started hooking up with Garrett Wilson. I've never seen Garrett Wilson so happy. The way he was running back and forth to the huddle, he was like a little kid. He was so enthusiastic. So that's a good thing that Garrett Wilson, at least, he got him going today. And Garrett Wilson, I'm sure, even though the loss bothers him, he's in a good frame of mind because this was his breakout game with Aaron Rodgers. And the Jet defense, they were good again, very good again on balance. Sam Darnold could do nothing in the second half. Darnold didn't look good, guys. I don't know whether you saw the game or not. Even when Darnold had a little time, he made some lousy throws. And even you could tell Justin Jefferson was unhappy on the bench for Minnesota. And he even said after the game, we got a lot of work to do. And it wasn't just being diplomatic, because they're 5-0, but they really have a lot of work to do because the way the Vikings looked in the second half, they're going to go from 5-0 to 5-3 before you know it.
Well, even with all that, the Jets still lost. Even though Sam Darnold looked bad and all that happened, the Jets still lost, Jack. And right now they're 2-3. They're going to be playing Buffalo. I think it's in Buffalo. And you said that they would be crazy to start Flacco. Let me tell you, a lot of the Jet fans that I'm seeing posting in their clubs are tell him to sit down, Rodgers. Sit him down. He's the reason why they lost.
Oh, these fans don't know what they're talking about, Mac. I mean, what are you even dignifying them? I mean, they
Because I
go
want
on
to get your
social
attention.
media, everything. They go like game to game. Flacco was here for 2 stints. He was here for 2 stints. No one said he should be the starting quarterback at any point. 2 stints he was here as a backup. I mean, come on. I mean, it's once in a while you do. It's rare that you catch lightning in the bottle the way Seattle did with Geno Smith. Geno Smith is an exception to the rule. I would have said the same, in all fairness, the same thing about Geno Smith. Flacco is okay if you go with him maybe from game to game. He can play well, on given games. He could string together a couple of good games if all cylinders are running. I mean, he's experienced. He's been around a while. He knows how to play quarterback. But if you were saying this about him last year when he was with Cleveland. I mean, who needs Deshaun Watson? You were saying, even though that has some merit. Deshaun Watson's been awful this year. But why didn't Cleveland hold on to Flacco? Flacco went to Indianapolis as a backup. They didn't do it.
I don't know.
Jameis Winston, they thought would be better.
He was shut down in the playoffs. I mean, the whole team was shut down in the playoffs. So.
And I guess the Colts maybe offered him a contract. I don't know.
Can I tell you something? Early in the game, things happen that people forget about that are darn frustrating. The Jets have the ball in Minnesota territory, 3rd and 2. And I'm saying this is a perfect chance for Rodgers to pass. Minnesota's stacked up for the run. He said, what do? They run straight up the middle. They got stopped. Now it's 4th down. Same thing. Straight up the middle gets stopped again. I mean, it was a replay of what happened when they had 1st and goal against Denver and couldn't run it in. They're going to have to get the running game going. I mean, Rodgers was under a certain amount of duress, but the offensive line is better than it was last year. They're kind of, right now, they've been average as far as the pass protection for Rodgers. It could be better. It could be worse, but the run blocking has been atrocious.
But I agree with you in regards to that 4th and 2. Either you put it in Rodgers' hands. To me, that's on Hackett. You put it in Rodgers' hands, or you kick the ball, take the points because you're in field goal range. I didn't understand that. That was just mind-boggling to me.
Listen. Aaron Rodgers could have called the audible if he wanted to. They wouldn't have got mad at him if he did. That's for sure. That when he's on the field, Aaron Rodgers, an experienced quarterback. Well, hell, C.J. Stroud even could do this. He could have called the audible at 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1 or whatever. He just chose to run the ball again, and that's up to Rodgers at the line of scrimmage. He could have done something, and he didn't. So. Before we get into, I want to get everybody caught up in the finals here in the games, and then we're going to take Jack and we're going to ask him some questions on the early games besides the Jets. So the Broncos ended up beating the Raiders 34-18, as I predicted they would. Cardinals did upset the 49ers 24-23. I told you about the lines moving earlier today. The Giants did beat Seattle 29-20. I'll get you some stats on this when we get back. Packers 24, Rams 19. So the Packers did end up winning this game. First, I want to bring you a commercial, and we'll come back and we'll start talking about the late games and early games. We'll get you all caught up on everything, and we'll even preview tonight's game. But first, here's a message from you.
Yo, you already know it's your boy LCF. I just tore it up for ZodiacTv. Shout out DJ Epps. Oh, man, it was great, man. We did an interview. Then I hit the stage. The crowd was amazing. They gave me all their energy. I gave them that energy back. Linked up with some dope artists in the building. ZodiacTv, man. Hey, we gonna celebrate for the rest of the night, you know what I mean? With some Bel Air. Shout out my nigga Rose. Holla at your boy. I mean, boss shit, you already know. But we tore it up, man. Performance was amazing. The set was amazing. ZodiacTv, shout out y'all boys, man. Thank you for having me. You already know I'm gonna come back. Your boy finna come back. You know what I mean? Go to work, did it all for nothing. Make sure y'all go get that single, available on all platforms. Let's go.
My girl just told me that she pregnant, we expecting the shit. So I had to fuck buckle down, accelerate, no slowing down. Some people, that's why I don't come around.
There you go. There you go, Zodiac. The choice of a new generation for music and sports. Go to ZodiacGlobalTV.com to check out that site. So let's finish up with the late games here. The Raiders at the Broncos. I'll give you some stats here. Bo Nix with 207 yards and 2 touchdowns. Gardner Minshew had 137 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Brock Bowers, the tight end, did have 8 receptions for 97 yards and a touchdown. So, again, the Raiders really don't have the offensive firepower. If they get behind, they were in head. Denver climbs back in, and Denver does have one of the better defenses in the league. Listen, Bo Nix looks a little bit better. Again, like Caleb Williams did earlier, 19 for 27, 266 yards, 2 touchdowns. It's efficient. It's not great by any means, but it's an efficient game for Bo Nix. What do you think, James?
I think the Raiders is just in shambles. They're from top to bottom. Something's wrong there. And it starts with the head coach and the relationship with his receiver. We talked about the locker room possibly being divided. I think it likely is. They're just not good. They're set up to win. And then, like you said, there's no leaders in there to just say, hey, let's pull it together. Let's keep the team together. No matter what, let's just get through this. I mean, and they just seem like there's no light. I don't know. I didn't get a chance to watch that game, but 34-10 and not having a really good offense. Broncos side, that's pretty bad.
I mean, Sean Payton's an exceptional coach. You should know it, James, from the years at New Orleans. I mean, even what he did with Denver last year, they were a terrible team. He took over early in the year. They were bad. He turned them around where they had an 8-9 record. And look what he's doing with a rookie quarterback, and not a rookie quarterback who I would say has a tremendous amount of upside, even though Bo Nix does have some. I feel, the one bright spot for the Raiders, Brock Bowers, and I don't want to say I told you so, but I was beside myself when the Jets didn't draft him. That's what we talk about, drafting for need, an offensive lineman. I know Tyler Conklin is a good tight end, but you're going to have more than one tight end. And Brock Bowers is an exceptional talent, would have fit into Aaron Rodgers' style of play, the short passing game.
I remember you saying that after the draft, Jack, and I kind of agreed with you. I mean, the offensive tackle is a safe bet. Normally they spend years and stuff, but when you got a shot to get an athlete at tight end who could change the game around for you, you probably should go get that. So I remember you saying that, and I think I agreed with you at the time. Arizona Cardinals score 11 points. They held the 49ers to 0 points in the second half. The defense stood up for him. Kyler Murray, 19-30, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, sort of what Kyle Murray does. Brock Purdy, 2 interceptions. It looks like, from what I'm reading here, the Cardinal defense just shut down the 49er offense that really doesn't have its weapons either. I mean, Kittle is banged up. Samuels, if he did play, he didn't do anything really. Ayuk did have 8 receptions for 147 yards. So maybe he's the only one they got there. I'm trying to take a look real quick before I pass it on to you, who the 49ers had out on the field there. Deebo Samuel was there. He had 3 carries for 9 yards, 1 catch for 11 yards. So he's 100%. Kittle played okay. Ayuk had a good game. But without Deebo, without McCaffrey, those are 2 huge missing points in the 49ers. And I thought if Arizona had a shot to beat them, which they always give, Sanford a hard time, this was the game. And they snuck up in the second half and beat him. So, James, I mean, what do you think? I mean, we talked about it a little bit before. Listen, the Cardinals, to be relevant, they had to win today. They had to beat them.
I thought going into the game, the 49ers, the key matchup was going their rushing game versus the Cardinals' forced a bad run defense. I mean, they gave up 153 yards total, 5.9 per clip. But I think the key here is those 2 interceptions. The game was close. Those 2 interceptions were costly. They could have won this game, and they let them come back. I mean, hats off to the Cardinals. I mean, they did a victory is a victory. They needed it, but even with spite of the injuries, 49 is good.
Jack,
I wonder how much the heat played into what went on in San Francisco. I didn't see the final weather report, but it was supposed to be near 100 degrees.
It was in the night.
Murray takes off on a 50-yard run. I wonder how fatigued the players are, because I know, I still jog. I wouldn't call it running because I've slowed up over the years. But when I used to run, under those conditions, I mean, it takes something out of you. It takes a lot out of you.
Again, we talked about this earlier. They have fans, they have air-conditioned benches, they have cold packs. It's not like in the 80s when they didn't have this stuff and the weather was basically the same. That's what they get paid for. Listen, I think that the Cardinals going up there and beating the 49ers is a heck of a job for them to do so. So, listen, again, McCaffrey, Jack, we don't know how long he's going to be out, really. I mean, he's getting second opinions and third opinions, and there's no word on when he's coming back.
And Arizona's going to be in the mix, guys, to win the division, beating the Niners. What are the Niners, 2-3 now? And the Rams, who lost today, don't figure to be a factor, even though you never know. And Seattle loses today to the Giants.
Yes. So, and a good segue, Jack. For the Giants, Daniel Jones went 23 of 34 for 257 yards and 2 touchdowns. Their rookie running back, 18 carries for 129 yards. Darius Slayton with a huge game, 8 receptions for 122 yards and a touchdown. So the Giants spread the ball around. They finally started throwing to the tight ends, which was nice to see. Finally, they got a pretty good young tight end too, Theo Johnson, who really made his presence felt today. Slayton with a big game. No Neighbors, no Singletary. So the Giants won. Of course, their defense played pretty well. They kept their wide receivers in check. Lockett had 75 yards, and I think Metcalf only had like 50 yards, which was a matchup I was worried about because the Seattle Seahawks do have good wide receivers. So Geno Smith goes 28 for 40, 284 yards and 1 touchdown, and the Giants get by on a block punt a block field goal. At the end of the game, they return it. Yeah. Steal a game. So I'm excited. That's my team. So good game by Jones, good game by the rookie running back, and Slayton with a big game, James.
Yeah, don't kid yourself. The Giants are 2-3. You don't figure they're going to contend for playoff position. The Commanders at 4-1 are playing over their heads. I mean, how long they'll keep it up, who knows? But it doesn't seem to be. The Eagles and the Cowboys don't seem to be particularly strong like in the past. So just the Giants have to take it 1 week at a time, and who knows? Who knows? Maybe the Giants wind up going 9-8 when all is said and done, and that'll be good enough for playoff position.
Jack, this is a gutsy win. I mean, they didn't have 2 of their key players that on offense and next man up. I mean, they both stepped up. I know about injuries heavily with the Saints, and I still see. I hear Mag Pete preach it all the time. Next man up. Slayton and Tracy had dominant games. Those were pretty good.
Yeah, Slayton needed that. Had Malik Neighbors been there, he maybe wouldn't have had this step-up game. He wouldn't have been allowed to, because it's obvious that Neighbors is going to be targeted, the majority of the time going forward, like he should be. But in the case of Daniel Jones, you could say, well, Daniel Jones played well, but the whole thing could be an illusion, guys. I mean, the Giants could wind up 8-9, 9-8. Daniel Jones could be decent like he was 2 years ago. And what are you going to do? You're going to extend him? You're going to, make him your quarterback of the future, and then midway into next year, everyone's going to be yelling to get him out of town.
I go ahead, James.
If 9-8 wins the division, then maybe, yeah.
But we'll see about that. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I still think the Giants maybe they put the tag on him and draft a quarterback. They got to draft a quarterback. They have to do that. I think. Yeah. They got to do that. The Packers hold off the Rams. I mean, with Matt Stafford, whoever this receiver is, it could be me, Jack, and James. He's going to get you the ball. Packers ended up winning the game 24-19. Let's see what Jordan Love ends up going for 224 yards, 2 TDs. Josh Jacobs, a good game by him, 19 carries for 73 yards and a touchdown. Matt Stafford did throw for 260 yards. Karen Williams, again, monster game. He's something else for the Rams. 22 carries, 102 yards, and 1 touchdown. Listen, the Rams came back in the fourth quarter, 6 points. They couldn't get in the end zone, and that was the big story of the game. You got to get the ball in the end zone, especially against the Green Bay Packers. Packers end up going 3-2. The Rams dropped to 1-4.
Yeah, you hated to see the Packers move on from Aaron Jones because he was such a favorite in Green Bay. But Josh Jacobs is one of the better running backs in the NFL. It is a little bit of an upgrade, to have Josh Jacobs there.
Well, I mean, I think it's almost like almost an even draw to me. Anyway, I think Jones is when he's healthy, he's just as good as Jacobs to me, James.
And that may be the issue is that when he's healthy, right? This game, he had to exit the game with a hip injury.
Yeah. And normally when he gets hurt, he normally takes a couple games off to get healthy again. So he'll be down. Dobbs was out for the Packers too, to let you all know. It took and Jordan Love found a way to get the other receivers like a good quarterback does. So we're about at 50, 10 minutes left. Let's talk a little bit about the Cowboys and Steelers tonight. Dallas is getting a point at Pittsburgh, which means somebody somewhere that's setting these odds that we went through yesterday thinks Dallas has a real chance at winning this game. And maybe because it's America's team that people bet on the Cowboys, I don't see the Cowboys having a chance in hell to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers tonight with the 2 pass rushers out, with Brandon Cooks out. You're going to ask Dallas Cowboys to do what? Run the ball and then just have CeeDee Lamb out there? I don't think that works. I think Pittsburgh and Fields had a big monster game last week. I think he's going to have a good game today too. I think Pittsburgh pretty wins this game at least by 7 points. What do you guys think?
We look at these edge rushers, and Micah Parsons is out, yet the Cowboys are favored by 1 point. That people are thinking the Cowboys could win. It's a pretty even game. Let's say it was just the opposite. Micah Parsons was in, but T.J. Watt was out. People would think it would be such a devastating blow for Pittsburgh, but they're not quite thinking the same way with Micah Parsons, even though they're supposedly 2 comparable players. That's interesting. And the talk, of course, before the night's going to be over, there are going to be 2 things. We're going to either talk about is McCarthy's job in jeopardy. Should they fire McCarthy or should Justin Fields be named the permanent starter? One of the 2 we're going to hear about. I mean, both of them if Pittsburgh wins.
What do you think, James?
I just don't think Dallas has enough to go into Pittsburgh and beat them by 1 point. I mean, we're talking about a defense that was porous against the run with those players. They're going up against the number 10 rushing offense, including a rushing quarterback. I think Mike Tomlin has a game plan to just beat these guys up front. They got a relatively good offensive line, and they have a really good defense to stop Dallas with an age group of average age running back group of 31, and they should be able to shut that down. And all you got is one quarterback who's making $60 million a year throwing to a receiver that's making $35-40 million a year. I just think that's all they got. That's it. And if you shut that down, you're going to win the game at home. I just don't think Dallas has enough to go in there and beat them, even if Vegas got them -1.
Well, they're going to run Najee Harris a lot, the Steelers, and now you get the feeling Tomlin isn't hesitant to have designed running plays for Justin Fields, and Justin Fields doesn't mind it because he knows that's his ticket to get the play and succeed too. But Dallas, even though Dak Prescott is pretty flexible and a good running quarterback when he needs to be, they don't really design hardly any running plays for Dak Prescott. So it's a different kind of an attitude, and the Steelers defense is real stingy. I mean, who's going to win this game? Wow. You know, it's a toss. I mean, it's such a toss-up. I think the Steelers eventually prevail in like a 19-16 type game. I think it'll be close to the vest. I can't see this game really opening up.
Yeah, I mean, I think. Listen, you know, we just saw the Cardinals beat the 49ers, and you know, we see a couple of these upsets that come in here. You know, it can happen. I mean, Dallas can win this game, but I just don't think they got the horses to do it on defense or on offense. Now, you know, Dak will find a way to get the ball to other people. There's no doubt in my mind about that. It's just, do they have enough horsepower on both sides of the ball? I don't think they have the horses to win this game. And we get to talk a little bit about James's Saints against the Chiefs. We talked about it on the NFL Big Show, the Big Football Show. Sorry. You have the Saints against the Chiefs. The Chiefs with a dominating defense. The Saints have a good defense. Can they stop? If let's put it this way: if the Saints jump out big, they'll win this game. If it's close in the fourth quarter, Casey gets the ball. Guess what? Kansas City's going to win this game. I don't know how, but they're going to win this game, James. New Orleans has to get at least a 14-point lead or so at the end of the fourth quarter with time running out, and then they should be able to win this game.
There's a possibility. I mean, they played really good, a couple of really good teams close, in the Falcons and the Eagles. And, of course, they let the ball slip away at the end. So you're right. They need to come out fast. But in the first two games, they've done that. But I think everybody's knowing them and know what they're going to do offensively. And a couple of players that changed the game, like Taysom Hill in the game, playing a decent role. He's not going to be in this game. But they are getting back another player that's another element that no one's keyed in on, who was really good last year, the rookie, in Kendre Miller. So they're going to have Alvin Kamara and Kendre Miller and Jamal. So the key for the Saints is just making sure they can get the run stuff they can. And we're not talking about Mahomes not having his one main man. That's a big deal. Unless Travis Kelce can jump out and go back to the future in his DeLorean and do what he did a couple of years ago, he's a no-show so far. So I think the game's gonna be a lot closer than people think. But I again, right? Mahomes, I wouldn't doubt that he wins the game, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Saints win either, because I think they're a lot better than they were last year.
James, I was like you for a long time under an illusion. Whenever I talk about the Kansas City Chiefs, the first thing I think about and would come out of my mouth would be Patrick Mahomes. You're thinking of the Chief offense, Pacheco's out, Rashee Rice is out. So you're thinking of all those elements. Who's going to step up besides Travis Kelce, who could step up in a situation like that? But very quietly, the Kansas City Chiefs have one of the best defensive units in the NFL, and no one talks about it. No, I mean, they give Chris Jones some love, okay? But that's about it. They have a heck of a defensive unit, and they're overshadowed by the charisma, Travis Kelce, his girlfriend, Patrick Mahomes, Taylor Swift. I had one of these moments. I forgot the name. You like the way I covered it up. Okay. But it's the Kansas City defense. I mean, that's bailed out the offense so far, and then being 4-0. And it's going to be tough for New Orleans to score on them with any consistency, put it that way.
I think it'll be both ways. I mean, New Orleans defense is no slouch either. Every team they've played, they've held in the teams for scoring. I mean, it's pretty. I think it's pretty even. I think minus the quarterback. I think that both teams are pretty even. I mean, we got really good defensive backs in the Saints backfield, and they have a good linebacking core as well, and they got a good defensive line. I think the defenses are evenly matched, minus Chris Jones. We don't have a Chris Jones on our team. But other than that, it's a pretty good team. So that's why I think the score's going to be close. We'll see.
Do not, and I'm telling you, look out for this game. Kareem Hunt played last week. He had some big runs. He can catch the ball out of the backfield too. Watch out for him this week. I wouldn't be surprised if Kareem Hunt gets 100 yards this game, and it might be the difference. It might be able to keep that Saints the offense off the ball, off the field. I know the Saints have Kamara, who's a very good running back, but Kareem Hunt gives them a different type of running back. Very big, very strong. Had a big 24-yard run at the end of last week's game to help the Chiefs win that game. Don't be surprised if he has a real big game tomorrow night.
We were talking yesterday on the memory show about George Allen, the former old-time coach who would trade number 1 draft picks for veteran players. The Chiefs this season have a chance to do something historic, this repeat. They won't have this opportunity next year, unless they win the Super Bowl and want to keep it going. And would it be wise, maybe not wise, feasible, to call up the Raiders and say, we're going to give you our number 1 draft choice for Devontae Adams if you make the deal right now? They're figuring if you're Kansas City, you're not going to pick till late in the draft and late in the first round anyway. But teams are so reluctant to give that up. But for the Raiders, that might look like a pot of gold. We're not going to play this guy again. We can't wait to get rid of Devontae Adams. Even though they're in our division, the Raiders could think they're not contending this year. So, but just imagine, getting that weapon at Kansas City.
Championship teams do that. I mean, we talk about the Rams did it like for several years, and they've been to a couple of Super Bowls and won one. And it hurt you in the long run, but having that gold on your finger is all the difference in the world.
Yeah. I mean, the only drawback is trading for somebody in your division that might hurt you 2-3 years down the road too. That's the only drawback. But it would, as Jack says, and I'm a big proponent of this, give the Raiders two first-round draft picks next year.
No, not for Devontae Adams. No, that would be
their first-round, Jack, and the Raiders' first-round pick. I mean, the Raiders would get their first-round pick plus Kansas City's first-round pick. So they'll have 2 draft picks.
Oh, the Raiders would have their own in Kansas City. Yeah,
right.
Well, that's what I mean. But
that's what I'm saying. I'm a proponent of that. We'll see what happens. So right now, I think we got about another 15 minutes before this game kicks off. Jack, thanks for joining us tonight, giving us your unique Jets expertise. We didn't talk about.
I just want to say this about the Jets in closing. Things are still fine. It's 2-3. No reason to panic. Buffalo lost today. So the Jets play Buffalo at home next week. If the Jets win that game, they're in first place, believe it or not, at 3-3. They'll be in first place. I'm not sure what the tiebreaker would be with Miami, but Miami's no threat. They just barely eked by, New England today, and they're 2-3. But the Jets will actually be in first place. So let's see whether they get it together next week. I think they will.
Okay, we'll see. And as you mentioned, Miami did beat the Patriots. Brissett with another terrible game. The calls for Drake May are going to get louder and louder as long as the Patriots keep losing and the quarterback keeps playing this bad. Folks, thanks for joining us again. Thanks for Jack coming in. James, great job as always. We'll see you next week on the NFL Download. Me and Jack will be back Monday morning for the Mac and Jack Sports Show. A lot of things happen in baseball that we'll be getting to tomorrow. You guys have a great night. And if you're going out tonight, why are you going out after 8 o'clock?